Hello and a very warm welcome to Around the Wickets by ThePapare.com. As you know, this is cricket's brief that takes a summarized look at our favorite sport. Now, we thought we will try and focus our attention on the upcoming series between Sri Lanka and the West Indies. Some key points that we want to ponder on in this program, and particularly with Sri Lanka and the West Indies in very similar stages in their cricketing situation, with both teams really looking to rebuild and in a transition after losing some of their top players. So both teams really will be going into this test series, which comprises of just 2 games, to try and win it if they can. And Sri Lankans should be the favourites, particularly playing on spin-friendly conditions in Sri Lanka. Now, the first test will start in Galle, and don't forget that this series is going to be named the Sobers-Tissera series, it's been played for the Sobers-Tissera trophy, because Sir Garfield Sobers and Michael Tissera, 2 distinguished cricketers that hail from their respective countries, have been recognized by the respective boards, the West Indies and Sri Lanka. So West Indies haven't been here since 2011, and this is, of course, we don't want to talk about that World T20 that we played here, but for a bilateral series, the West Indies were last year in 2011. So it's going to be for the Sobers-Tissera series. Now, Sri Lanka will start off the 2-match series in Galle. Now, Galle generally is a very favourable place for Sri Lanka. They love playing at Galle because they've won a lot of games. But in the recent past, the record hasn't been too good, because Yasir Shah of Pakistan really, and Amit Mishra of India, tormented the Sri Lankans. Now in Galle, will Devendra Bishu do a Mishra or a Yasir Shah against Sri Lanka? That's going to be the big question. Will Sri Lanka be able to cope with Devendra Bishu? Of course, we know that Bishu still lacks the class of either Yasir Shah or Amit Mishra. And also a few questions for Sri Lanka to answer, and particularly who will be batting at number 6. Now, the Sri Lankans tried a few. They kept moving their batting up and down, and now I believe that the lineup looks quite settled. I still get the feeling that Lairu Thirimana will bat at number 3, Chandimal at 4, and Matthews at 5, and Kusal Perera will be at 7, and the established openers in Kaushal Silva and Dimuth Karunaratne should retain their place. So who will be the number 6 for Sri Lanka? Now, there are a few names mentioned. Milinda Siriwardana is a possibility, but I must tell you that the selectors are quite excited at a very young player emerging, a former Sri Lanka under-19 captain, Kusal Mendis, who hails from Prince of Wales. He was on this recent tour, emerging tour to India, and the selectors seem to think very, very highly of him. Now, he's been included in the 3-day game against the West Indies. Interestingly, his performance in that game may just clinch a place for him in this final 11, because I don't think Jehan Mubarak is in contention, though the selectors still might want to look at experience. You never know, but these are my thoughts. I think it's more like Kusal Mendis and Milinda Siriwardana. And one other thing is, the West Indies aren't great against spin bowlers. So what would be the ploy of Sri Lanka? Will they be looking at playing 2 fast bowlers and 2 spinners, or will they look at playing 3 spinners? That is Kusal, Tharindra Kaushal, I should say, Rangana Herath, and also will they look at Dilruwan Perera? Now, that is going to be an interesting question. Or will it be a 2+2 attack? That is 2 fast bowlers and 2 spinners, which means Nuwan Pradeep and Dhammika Prasad with Tharindra Kaushal and Rangana Herath. More interesting scenario emerging from the series, and you'll be surprised, both teams are coached by interim coaches. Jerome Jayaratne, because Marwan Athapattu resigned, and Phil Simmons was suspended by the West Indies Cricket Board, and Eldine Baptiste has been named the interim coach. So quite a few interesting scenarios in the Sri Lanka-West Indies series, which starts on 14th at Galle, and I'm sure the Sri Lankans will be very, very keen to try and wrap up this series and come back strongly as a very fine test playing nation. So that's all as far as the Around the Wickets from ThePapare.com. You can join us again very soon. And I just also want to remind you that Cricketry, which means the audio updates at the end of each day's play, will be available to you in the Sri Lanka West Indies series.